Ben & Jerry's Pints. There is a pint of ice cream in your freezer right now that you are planning to eat alone, in one sitting, even though you've told yourself you're just going to have a couple of bites. Ben & Jerry's knows this. The company was founded in 1978 by two friends at a converted gas station in Burlington, Vermont, and their entire product strategy has been built around excess. In 1984, a customer suggested putting chocolate chip cookie dough into vanilla ice cream. The company spent 6 years perfecting it, then launched it nationally. That single idea became the blueprint for everything they've done since. They don't make basic ice cream that tastes good by itself. They make ice cream that tastes incomplete without what's inside it. Cherry Garcia combines cherry ice cream with real Bordeaux cherries and fudge flakes. Fish Food layers chocolate ice cream with marshmallow swirls, caramel swirls, and fudge fish pieces. Chunky Monkey mixes banana ice cream with walnuts and chocolate chips. Every single flavor and every texture combination is well thought out. Every spoonful has something different hitting your mouth at the same time. Then they took it a step further. They invented core ice creams. Instead of chunks mixed throughout, they created a central cylindrical core running down the middle of the pint so you don't have to waste time hunting for the good parts. Brownie batter core has a brownie center. Salted caramel core has caramel. And cookie dough core has so much dough that you forget you're eating ice cream at all. They also understood what actually happens when you eat ice cream alone at 11 p.m. while binge-watching Real Housewives. You're not thinking about balance or sophistication. You want permission to keep eating. Ben & Jerry's understands this, so they engineered flavor names that sound like indulgences instead of descriptions. Half-Baked, Americone Dream, Tonight Dough. These names don't tell you what's in them. They tell you it's okay to want this. Ben & Jerry's only sells them by the pint for a reason. Scooping ice cream out of a half-gallon and into a bowl creates a portion. A pint means you're finishing it, so why bother pretending otherwise? Cheez-Its. Food scientists have a term for the exact moment a snack stops being satisfying, but you keep eating anyway. Cheez-Its were engineered to live permanently in that moment. The Cheez-It was invented in 1921 by the Green & Green Company in Dayton, Ohio. They marketed it as a baked rarebit, a reference to the Welsh dish of melted cheddar on toast. The name meant nothing to Americans, so they just sold them on the strength of the product itself. The recipe uses wheat flour, vegetable oil, and, believe it or not, real cheddar cheese. That formula has barely changed in 100 years. What changed is what food science understands about why people physically cannot eat just one. In the late 1960s, a psychophysicist named Howard Moskowitz was hired by the U.S. Army to solve a problem. Soldiers were throwing away their rations because they didn't taste all that good. Moskowitz discovered what he called the bliss point, a precise mathematical combination where salt, fat, and flavor align to create maximum craving with minimum satisfaction. Below that point, people don't want it. Above it, they feel sick. The bliss point is where you keep eating past the moment you should stop. Cheez-Its were engineered to live directly at that peak. The salt enhances flavor perception and stimulates saliva production, making each bite taste exceptional. The fat carries flavor and creates a sensation of richness. A slight tang from the cheese fermentation cuts through the heaviness, so the cracker never registers as filling. Researchers at Oxford found that the brain associates the sound of crunching with freshness, convincing you that what you're eating is more appetizing than it actually is. Every Cheez-It produces that perfect amount of crunch. Cheez-Its now sells over 400 million packages annually in the US alone. That's either remarkable product loyalty or the psychology behind the product actually works. Hostess cakes. When Twinkies disappeared from shelves in 2012, Americans panic bought them like emergency supplies. For a snack cake with a shelf life measured in decades and a reputation to match, that reaction needs some explaining. Hostess was founded in 1919, and the Twinkie arrived in 1930 as a sponge cake with a cream filling. The original flavor was banana. When World War II created a banana shortage, Hostess switched to vanilla and never switched back. The cake itself is mostly air, sponge batter leavened with steam and eggs, designed to be impossibly light. The filling is vegetable shortening whipped with sugar and vanilla, which gives it an almost weightless texture. Together, they create something that tastes less like food and more like the idea of sweetness given physical form. By the 1950s, Twinkies were in every school lunchbox in America, which meant an entire generation grew up with a direct emotional connection to the product before they were old enough to question it. Twinkies stopped being a choice and became a given. When Hostess filed for bankruptcy the second time in 2012, the company announced it would liquidate entirely and close all operations. Stores sold out within hours. A single box of Twinkies sold on eBay for $200. The panic wasn't really about the cake. It was about the sudden possibility that something permanently, reliably present might actually disappear. Ding-dongs and ho-hos didn't generate the same hysteria, which tells you everything about which product carried the actual emotional weight versus which ones people just ate because they were there. The shelf life mythology is worth addressing. Twinkies do not last forever. The actual shelf life is around 45 days, which is longer than most baked goods but considerably shorter than the legend suggests. What preserves the brand far longer than the product is scarcity. People didn't want Twinkies until they couldn't have them anymore. Little Debbie. Little Debbie has never won a single taste test. The company has never tried to, but that's never hurt their bottom line. McKee Foods launched the Little Debbie brand in 1960, named after the founder's 4-year-old granddaughter. The entire business has always had one competitive advantage: price. A box of oatmeal cream pies, or zebra cakes, has historically cost less than $1. McKee controls its own distribution network, keeps its profit margins thin, and pushes volume through vending machines, gas stations, and workplace break rooms, locations where nobody is making a considered food choice. The actual product is enriched flour, sugar, palm oil, artificial flavoring, and a binding agent. It produces something reliably sweet, soft, and immediately forgettable. Little Debbie exists for the 10-minute break, the point in the workday where your only alternative is the communal fruit bowl that's been sitting on the counter since Monday. The bar for winning in that context is remarkably low. McKee figured out something that sounds obvious but isn't: availability and consistency. A Swiss roll in rural Tennessee tastes exactly like a Swiss roll in downtown Chicago. You're not buying something you love, you're buying something predictable and cheap. The nutritional profile is honestly not great. High sodium, low fiber, built around palm oil and dairy product approximations. McKee has kept costs relatively low by using cheaper ingredients and extending shelf life through preservatives. The line has since expanded to include cosmic brownies, honey buns, and Nutty Buddy bars. The basic formula hasn't changed because changing it would mean raising the price. Lunchables. Lunchables were not invented because kids were hungry. They were invented because Oscar Mayer had too much bologna and needed something to do with it. By the mid-1980s, Oscar Mayer was sitting on a significant oversupply of processed lunch meat. Supermarket shelf space was tightening, and cold-cut sales were declining. A product development team led by Bob Drain spent 2 years studying what working mothers actually needed at lunchtime. Not what they wanted to eat, but what would save them time while still getting their kids to consume calories. The answer wasn't a better product, it was a container. Lunchables launched in 1988 as a compartmentalized plastic tray with crackers, processed cheese, and processed meat. The portions were sized for small hands. The assembly format meant a child could build the meal without adult involvement. That self-assembly was the entire innovation. Kids who brought Lunchables to school had something their classmates could see, comment on, and want. The social dynamic at the lunch table drove demand more effectively than any advertising campaign ever could. The nutritional profile was poor from inception, high in sodium and preservatives, with processed meat and cheese products as the main ingredients. Lunchables were never designed to meet school nutrition guidelines. Over the years, Oscar Mayer introduced pizza Lunchables, nachos Lunchables, and dessert variations. None represent nutritional progress. Millennials still buy them occasionally, usually as a nostalgic impulse or because they genuinely forgot to pack a lunch. The food inside tastes like the memory of food from childhood, which apparently is enough of a selling point to keep it on shelves indefinitely. Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets don't come with a warning label, but they probably should, for more than one reason. Paul and David Mirage, two brothers who had never worked in the food industry, founded Chef America in 1977 with a specific problem to solve: a handheld sandwich that could be microwaved without the bread turning into a rubber disc. Standard bread absorbs microwave energy unevenly, creating a scalding crust and a frozen center simultaneously. The brothers developed something called a susceptor sleeve, a thin metallic liner that converts microwave radiation into conducted heat, crisping the exterior while cooking the interior through. It was a genuine piece of food engineering built entirely around the fact that Americans were buying microwaves at a staggering rate. By 1986, over 60% of American households owned one. Hot Pockets launched nationally in 1983. Pepperoni pizza, ham and cheddar, and Philly cheesesteak became the core lineup. The pitch was simple: hot, cheesy, and ready in 2 minutes. The product found its audience immediately. Anyone operating in the specific space of needing something hot and fast and not thinking about the consequences. The Scepter sleeve worked well enough that the outside crisped and the interior became molten, which created the mouthburn problem the brand became famous for. It also gained quite a reputation for the digestive reckoning that happens 4 hours later. Nobody stopped buying them because of it. The filling is a cheese sauce made from vegetable oil, whey, salt, and emulsifiers. It stays liquid when heated, which means every bite has the potential to cause actual physical damage to the roof of your mouth. That risk is somehow part of the appeal. In 2002, the Mirage brothers sold Chef America to Nestle for $2.6 billion. For two people who had never worked in food before, that's an exceptionally reasonable outcome. SpaghettiOs. SpaghettiOs were launched in 1965 as a convenience food for working mothers. The fact that adults still eat them alone, cold, and straight from the can was not part of the original pitch. Franco-American, a division of Campbell's Soup, developed the product with a specific goal: pasta a child could eat without making a catastrophic mess. The shape and size was deliberate. Smaller O-shaped pasta fits on a spoon without sliding off, which solves an actual problem for parents trying to get through dinner without too much of a disaster. The original jingle was, "Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs,"
SpaghettiOs,
which became one of the most recognized taglines in American food advertising, despite describing essentially a mild inconvenience. The flavor profile was engineered entirely around a child's palate. The tomato sauce is sweeter than any Italian would recognize, enough sugar to register as comforting rather than acidic, no spice, no texture, nothing you'd ever find in a gourmet meal. The pasta is cooked close to disintegration before canning, which produces uniform softness throughout. The nostalgic pull for adults is real and well documented. SpaghettiOs taste exactly like being 7 years old, and there are days when that's precisely the experience you're after. The sauce contains tomato puree, sugar, salt, and modified cornstarch. The pasta is enriched wheat flour. Nothing in it has changed since 1965, which is either a sign of perfection or a sign that nobody felt strongly enough to try. Campbell's still sells tens of millions of cans annually. Adults buy them, college students buy them, people going through rough periods buy them because something familiar tastes like being taken care of. The flavor hasn't changed. The experience hasn't changed. Sometimes consistency is the reason something so simple still tastes so good. Gas station hot dogs. 40% of convenience store customers say they cannot get the roller grill experience anywhere else. They're talking about a hot dog that has been spinning on a gas station counter for several hours. The roller grill arrived in American convenience stores in the early 1980s as a calculated move to generate food revenue in a business that makes almost nothing on fuel. A gallon of gas carries a margin measured in cents. A hot dog sold for $2.50 that costs 30 cents to stock is a much higher profit. Convenience store prepared food, hot dogs, taquitos, jalapeno poppers, whatever is currently rotating, now accounts for one of the highest profit margins in the entire retail food industry. The appeal is mostly theater. The food is visible, it's moving. You select your own hot dog from the rotating selection, your own bun from the warmer, your own condiments, your specific quantity of chili or nacho cheese sauce. That level of involvement in the preparation creates a sense of investment you just can't get from a pre-wrapped sandwich. Industry survey data shows 71% of roller grill users describe the experience as very important to their convenience store visit, which is a remarkable thing to feel strongly about in relation to a rotating hot dog. The hot dogs themselves are standard pork and beef franks with nitrates as preservatives. They become slightly dehydrated from the heat and rotation, which concentrates the salt and makes the ingredients more flavorful. A roller grill hot dog tastes like salt and meat in a way that other hot dogs never do. Nachos follow identical logic. Chips in a basket, cheese from a pump, optional jalapenos, assembled on a tray by the person eating them. The food is objectively not exceptional. The format makes you feel like you built something, which apparently is enough to justify eating it. The cheese sauce is typically a blend of vegetable oil, whey, and color additives. It tastes approximately like cheese, but it's really not. Super-sized sodas. A 44-ounce fountain drink contains roughly 128 grams of sugar. The FDA recommended daily limit is 50 grams. The cups have gotten bigger anyway. Fountain drink sizes expanded steadily throughout the second half of the 20th century, driven by a simple economic discovery. A larger cup costs almost nothing more to fill, but commands a significantly higher price. McDonald's introduced Supersize in 1994. 7-Eleven's Big Gulp holds 32 ounces. The profit margins were undeniable. Sugar and caffeine together bypass the body's normal fullness signals. The combination triggers a dopamine release without triggering satiety, which means you keep drinking past the point where any other beverage would have made you stop. It also means you spend the next 3 hours strategically planning your location relative to the nearest restroom. Fountain drinks were just the beginning. Energy drinks took that same formula to an extreme. A single 16-ounce Monster contains 160 milligrams of caffeine, plus sugar, B vitamins, and several other compounds that sound scientific. What they don't advertise is the niacin flush, that sudden, intense burning sensation across your chest and face that happens about 20 minutes after you drink one. First-time drinkers think they're having a medical event. Repeat customers think it's a sign the product is working. The brand markets aggressively to a demographic that believes normal human function isn't enough. Skateboarders, college students pulling all-nighters, anyone operating in a state of controlled panic. Monster became a category by convincing people that extreme was the baseline. The black cans, the aggressive logo, the sponsorships of skateboard competitions, motocross, and the X Games. It's not selling a beverage, it's selling the idea that you're the kind of person who needs this. People keep buying them because they make you feel capable of more than you actually are. You're not drinking for taste, you're drinking for the chemical transformation. We all know the person lecturing you about their keto diet has a bag of Doritos hidden in their glove compartment. They're posting about macros on Instagram while waiting in line at the Taco Bell drive-thru. Everyone's got their thing. No need to be embarrassed about yours.